Google Meet.
All right, awesome. So I am recording the screen here. I'm going to just recording the call. So again, I'm JJ. I lead community and education here at Softr. But generally, I've just been building in this space and educating this space since 2020, just like my friend Sahil. Really excited to be building something with you all today. So again, Build Week, we're going to build something new in 7 days. And we're going to be here to give you as much support as possible. We have these daily trainings going through the main aspects of how to build with Softr. So we need to figure out what we're going to build, and then we want to figure out how we're going to structure the data. And that's kind of why we started off today the way we did with databases, is because first we need to figure out how to build and kind of what the right scope is for your MVP. And then once we figure that out, we could start laying the general foundation of our database. And as Sahil will kind of explain later on, it's that foundation of the database kind of shows what the outline of the interface may need to look like and helps us really lay that foundation. So today, Sahil and I will be doing a lot of talking out loud as we think through the steps of building a database together, which I think is hopefully helpful for you all to think about as you have your own ideas, how you're going to structure your data as well. I do want to start off this conversation because it is the first time that we're actually here together thinking about what we can build for this week, right? Now, luckily, Softr is very horizontal. And what I mean by that is you could build a lot of things in Softr. But that also means that there are also some things that might not be good for you to build in Softr. And so to make sure everyone finds the most success throughout this week, Sahil, why don't we just bounce some ideas about what could be good to build in Softr? I had already listed some things publicly, but we really work well with internal tools, client portals. And what I mean by a client portal is, for example, an insurance agency. Maybe they want to create a safe spot for their users to log in and access just their users' information, no one else's. So they can log in and see, the client can log in and see their client details and maybe their client premium and keep it really safe and secure for just that user. Whereas the insurance agency can see the list of all their users, all the high-level stats. So that's like that two-sided experience. Sahil, what else do you think?
Yeah, I think internal tools is where Softr shines, in my opinion. I know it started many years ago. It started off as a website builder, and people did lots of fun projects. But now, really, I think Softr has honed in on building internal tools, applications. So what I call operating systems for businesses. So it could be, you're running your business, and you have all sorts of spreadsheets floating around. You have data and emails. And you're doing a lot of these things manually. And that's where, for most of our projects, we bring this all together in Softr. So think about any operations that you run for yourself, for your company, for your team, and how can you bring it all together under one sort of app so that when these people log in the morning, they get all their information there. They can run all the operations from there. So that's where I would say Softr shines the most on the internal side. Running your ops, or maybe the other one would be client-facing things. So if you have a business where you have clients and they need to interact with you, they're asking for information, you need to email it back. Again, you can expose it using the Softr portals, and then it becomes a little bit of self-service way of doing things versus you manually handling things. And then the last one I would say, which also works really well with Softr, is directories. So if you have access to information that you can monetize, a lot of people use Softr to expose all that information, by providing either a subscription or a one-time payment, and then you unlock access to this proprietary information via Softr's interface. So that's I would say those three are probably the top in my opinion.
If anyone has questions about their app and they want to put it in chat of like if it's good or not for Build Week, let us know and we'll do that, answer that along the way. Again, this session is supposed to be interactive. So if you have questions, raise your hand or let us know in chat. We'll bring you on screen. You can chat. This is all of us working together here. So what are some like apps that you made recently for some of your Softr partners, if you can like publicly say?
Yeah, the three that I mentioned. So we have a directory of this proprietary data that we built for one of our clients, and they sell it for the access is like thousands of dollars. So and it was pretty easy to build it with Softr compared to your traditional approach where my client was quoted almost $500,000, not even kidding. And it was built with Softr, so obviously a lot cheaper. So that was one of them. We are working with a client in Europe right now who provides certifications for green products, right? So the products, oops, sorry about that. I have a fire alarm situation.
Oh,
Take it
no,
away.
we can't hear it actually. All right, I'll take over because I hope there is no fire alarm in your apartment, Sahil. I also want to shout out Florian. He's one of our Softr partners. He's on the call here too. You can see his super swag on him right now. So Florian, thanks for being here. He'll be helping out through the channels as well. So we have okay, it's a joke. Good. So we have this session. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. And then also at noon today, Eastern, we have an open office hours with Harold, another one of our Softr partners. That is a closed group session where you just come in and like ask questions, and we'll just do the best we can to get to everyone's questions. Again, trying to give you the most support we can to get you off and running for Softr Build Week. All right, let me share my screen and we'll get building. So we're here in Softr Studio. Can you see my screen okay here? Yeah, I think so. Nods.
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
All right. Excellent. So in Softr, we are now full stack. That means we can build interfaces, which we call apps. We could build databases, which we're going to build today. And then we could build workflows, and that's the logic. These three things tie an app together. Okay. Now, Josh Allen, that's a fantastic name, by the way. I saw your comment about I want to design an app that can import credit data from Experian and export it to a PDF form. So the way that I would think about that, Josh, is that's really a lot of workflows. There's a couple of ways that you could do that where you build an app that allows you to upload like a CSV file or a file, something like that. And then in that form, that would trigger a workflow to be able to export it as a PDF form. There's a couple ways to do that. Maybe I'm not as clear. We can sync a little bit later about that because this is a specific use case. But what I'm trying to get at here is you normally use these three things together to create an entire app. And one other thing that we don't show here, but we also support is like forms, right? So if you want to spin up a form to collect details, you can easily do that in Softr interfaces and then sync that to your database that you create to send all those form submissions to your database. And then you could use workflows to create automations of, hey, when a form submission is created, send this person an email to let them thanking them for the form post, and then maybe send me a Slack message letting me know that I have a new submission, right? So there's a lot of things that you can use Softr for one subscription to do everything. Now, in Softr databases, we have three ways to start. We can import our data, we can start with a template, or we can start from scratch. Now, today we're going to start from scratch because it's an educational training session and we're going to show it to you. And in this session, we're going to be building a portal that allows us to collect, collect resumes for a job that we're hiring for. Okay. And so we're going to build a database, like a hiring database that allows us to create new job posts and then to collect recipients or applications for each of those job posts. Okay. So I'm going to go up here in the top left corner and I'm just going to rename this, and it's going to be like HR portal, something like that. That should be good. And Sahil, feel free to chime in at any point, especially when the drill is done.
Yeah, I just went away. So yeah, if you want me to share, I can go ahead, or you can continue.
Cool. I'll continue here, but feel free to chime in at any point.
Okay.
So up here, we have what we call a table. All right. And if we wanted to click and add a new table, that would allow us to add new information. All right. So what is a table? I'll give it my best bet, but maybe Sahil would even be better at explaining this to me. I'm going to call this table, for example, users. Okay. And this is where we're going to store all of our users. Okay. So any user that needs to interact with this application would be stored here. Now, we would also want a table for all of the jobs that we're posting. Okay. So I'd go add a new blank table and I'd say jobs. And so these are like the jobs, like job listings. We'll make it more clear that way. Okay. So this way, whenever we want to create a new job listing, we would use this table to create a new job listing. And we can have multiple job listings in this table. It could be, for example, hiring for product design. And then it could also be hiring for software engineer. So by building the database in this way, we could have multiple job listings here. Sahil, what did I miss?
No, I think, yeah, that's pretty good. So the way I think about it, if I'm not sure how many people have worked with databases before, but I'm sure most people have worked with spreadsheets. So your spreadsheet that you are typically working with, you call it a file, but in the database world or software world, Airtable, whatever you have, it's a base, essentially a database. And in a spreadsheet world, you have tabs, sheets. So those get converted into tables here, what JJ just built. So in your spreadsheet, it would be a user's sheet. Here it's a table, and there's a reason it's not called a sheet, it's a table, because the information that's stored here is a little bit structured. And the extension of that is in your spreadsheet world, you have those columns that you can filter and sort, but here they become fields. And they're so one field here is the name field. This is the description field that JJ is just renaming. And again, the difference is in spreadsheet, you have cells and you can type whatever you want. But here you have to, ahead of time, think about what information you're going to be storing in that column. And based on that, you have to select the type, the field type. So you can see field name is description, and field type currently selected is long text, because here, most likely, there's going to be a job description. So those are kinds of the differences, or how a spreadsheet gets converted into a more of a database environment.
Yeah, well said. I think field types are one of the things that normally trip people up. Think of field types as a way to format the data, okay? So in description, we're going to insert like a long description for this because we want to explain what the job listing is. But maybe, you know, for like status, we only want like a couple different options saying, hey, this is in progress, this has been completed, and if I need to change the color, I can click on the color. Or, you know, it's to be created, something like that. And so then that means when I go to select it, I can only select those three options. So that's the single select field type. But there are a ton of different other field types. So if you need to save like a resume, that'd be a file field type. If you need to save a date where the application was submitted, maybe that would be the date field, or already like a built-in created at field type. And then there's a lot of different things as well for like ratings, formulas, checkboxes, currencies, etc. So when we're thinking about our tables, we're thinking, all right, we have our job listing. For each job listing, we need a name, a description, and then we want to be able to do one more thing. We want to be able to associate all the applications that come in to each of the job listings, okay? Now, for that, we're actually going to create another table here, and we're going to call this applications. Okay, so these are the individual applications of, like, for when JJ, me, submits an application to this job, an application will be created here, and then we need to tie this new application back to this job so we could see that the two are connected. And we'll do this using a linked field, linking the two together. So for example, I'll go in and add a field, and I'm going to say a related record, and the related record is going to be related job application, and it's going to be for the job listings. All right, and we're asking, do we want to allow multiple linkings or one? Sahil, what would be the answer to this, and what is the reason?
Yeah, so here, one user at a time is only applying for one job in my setup. So I would not allow them to link to multiple, because for each individual application they make, I would expect some additional questions about that, which will be added to that record. So here the answer will be no.
Right. And so what to clarify that in another way, we're asking if we want this one user for this one application to apply to two jobs. And the answer is no, we don't. We only want that one application to apply to one job. It's a one-to-one relationship in this matter, okay? Now, it's asking us if we want to add any lookup fields. Sahil, what's a good way to explain lookup fields?
Why don't you go ahead and add maybe a dummy application, and then it'll become sort of obvious. So if you skip this, okay, and if you just like do, just do an application.
JJ app, and then we'll link it to the related job description. Is that what you're thinking?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And then if you go to the job listings table, okay, so we have a name and we have a description. So just put in something in the description field, just some dummy text.
Okay.
Okay, so go back to applications. Okay, perfect. So here we see JJ applied. Well, this will be done through a user interface, but for database purposes, we see that there's one application at the moment from JJ, and it is for the hiring for product design job, right? So now let's say on this application, we want to run some AI. We want to see whether the applicant has the right skills or whatever information we want to collect about this particular application. But for that, we need additional information from the job posting itself. And for that, we need the job's description. But we don't have it here. We only see the job title. So in order to pull the description also in the applications table, what you can use is what's known as a lookup. So now you can add the lookup. And the source for this lookup is going to be, it can be different sources that you have linked here. But when you click on the lookup source dropdown, JJ, you'll see, okay, it says you're trying to look up something from a related record, which is job application in this case. And the next question is, what exactly do you want me to look up? And then you can select whatever you want. Here will be description so that we can use this information for further analysis. So now, just by virtue of this link between the job application and job listing, we have this text also pulled in.
Excellent. And this is a great way to think about your databases, because we already have a job description saved in this table. We don't want to recreate the job description here. We want to reuse our data. That's a very efficient method for creating your database. All right. So this connection between the job listings and applications is happening through a linked record field. Those are very popular in your application, your database building, and you'll probably be using them a lot. If you guys have any questions about linked records, let us know. We're happy to do a couple more examples to show it to you. Otherwise, we're going to keep going on building this. See something in chat about being unable to see our screen on mobile. I don't know how to solve that problem, but Cecil, why don't you ask a question? Hopefully I pronounced your name right. You had raised your hand. Feel free to ask.
Hello. Is it possible to develop a bit Rollup relation type, please?
Is it possible to discuss another relation type?
Rollup.
What?
It's when I had a field just below related record, there is lookup and rollup. So maybe
I know rollup copy. Okay. Yep. I got you. All right. So there's another more advanced field type, and it's called a rollup field. So we see relations here, right? And then within that is a field type called rollup. Now we just went and did a related record and a lookup, but now there is a rollup field. Okay. Let's see if we could find a good way to. Sahil, do you have any ideas for how we can
So I would say go to the applications table and create a couple more applications for the product design role.
Okay.
Just add a couple more. There you go. And then make sure they're linked to the same application, or maybe 2 for product design and 1 for software engineer. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So now we are seeing that applications are rolling in. And from a recruiter's perspective, the recruiter might want to see how many people have applied for a particular role, right? So how do we find that out? Well, one way is to go to the applications table, maybe download the data and then count in an Excel file or something, but that defeats the purpose of using a database. So there's another way, which Sahil mentioned, and it's called a rollup. So yeah, feel free to add that as well. Perfect. So now go back to the job listings table, JJ. So here, as a recruiter, I want to see how many people have applied for the product design role. But that information exists in the applications table, right? So just like we were able to pull in information from job listing to applications, which was a job description that we did a few minutes ago, same way, because there's a relation between listings and applications, we can pull information from the applications table into this table, right? So, and this time we are going to use a different method, and that will be a rollup. So that way we will be able to tell how many people have applied for a particular role. So if you add a field here of type rollup, so previously we used a lookup, which looks up the information as is. It just brought in the job description where, as is. But here, it is still looking up information. But in addition to that, so if you select applications, which is a linked, it will ask you which field you want to roll up. So it doesn't matter. You can just roll up the name field, which is fine. And all we want to do is count. So we just want to count, and this will give us how many people have applied for a particular job. So now we'll see. Oops.
We should see that.
Or maybe we can do the status, because if it doesn't do it by that, yeah, we can do a status and try that.
Let me reload it to see if there's something.
Oh, it's
there.
probably different than Airtable. I'm used to Airtable still.
What's that?
I'm still used to Airtable, so I guess it's slightly different. So what we can do is, no, not that. I guess it only does it on the number field, it seems like, for some reason. What all do we have?
Oh, I see.
Okay, try count A. Yeah,
Count
non-empty
A.
text values. Okay, yeah, so that's.
Oh, there it is. So what we're showing here is number of applications, right, for each. So for this product design job description, we have 2 applications, and it's being configured via a rollup field. Now, I do want to mention that when we were looking at the rollup field, we only saw applications as being an option that we could roll up. And this is because a rollup field can only operate if there's a linked field there. And so since applications is the only linked field, it can only use that one. But if you wanted to do rollups on more tables, you need to create more linked relationships with those other tables to roll those up. So rollups are really good for doing calculations on things, where lookups are really good for showing additional data from another table without having to recreate that data.
So JJ, if you open these settings again of the rollup fields, yeah, so aggregation formula. So this is where rollup is different than lookup, what JJ was trying to say. So there's all these different calculations that you can do on the linked data. And if you see, we first tried to do a count, which says counts non-empty numeric values, but we didn't have a numeric value. So now, think of these as Excel formulas, different things that you can do on the related data. And here we then chose count A, which counts non-empty text or numeric values. So now that's why we got the response that we were after. So you can do all sorts of things. Imagine if you had, let's say we had a field in the applications table which gave a score of, each candidate, and you wanted to see what is the average score per application, you could use an average formula. So just think of these as Excel formulas, except they apply on the related data.
Excellent, excellent. All right, we have a question from Florian asking about importing CSV. Let me show you a little bit here, and then you can, if I don't cover it, you let me know. So when we want to go to add a new table, we could also do a couple different things. If I want to import a table from CSV, meaning you already have data that you want to add it to that table, you could select this option, all right? Or let's say you are working in Airtable and you want to come over to Softr databases, you can select import from Airtable, and we will take your entire Airtable database and import it into Softr, including all of the formulas, the lookups, the rollups. It's not bulletproof yet, but it is really, really magical and awesome. And so this is a good way for you to take your entire Airtable base, bring it over to Softr databases, and to use it, especially for this week, because for build week, we need you to use Softr databases. So that could be a good way to bring that data you already have in Airtable into Softr databases using the import Airtable feature. All right, or you can add a blank table, and I'm not sure, Sahil, do you have this option, generate with AI? Or is this still only reserved to?
No, I don't have it yet.
This is still an employee thing. This would be when it comes out, you can use AI to create a new table for you with all the fields associated. So that's coming soon, I guess. All right, so and Notion import coming soon. Zane, yeah, we are working on additional imports, Notion being one of them, and our other data sources as well. We don't have it yet, unfortunately, so you would have to export a CSV and then bring the CSV in here. Or you could look at using some like our workflows to do that transfer of like, take this workflow Notion data and to add it into Softr database in a more programmatic way. Is there a way to allow users in an app to upload CSV without having to access the database? Yes, there is. Is CSV upload? Yeah, CSV is fine, right, Sahil? Yeah. So the way that we would do that is that's actually in Softr interfaces. We could create a form, and in that form, we would need to map the CSV file to a file field type here. So I would go and add a file field type, and this would be the CSV import or CSV. And then once that field is there, then in Softr interfaces, you can map that CSV file that you want to the field here, right?
But I guess if Jackson's question is that if users can ingest data to the database using a CSV upload, similar to how you're doing it here, the answer to that is yes, but not directly. So you have to build a workflow to process the CSV, loop through each record, and then add the records to the database. So the workflow there is you build a form, the user uploads the CSV. Once the CSV comes in, you will then manually process the CSV and add the records. So it can be done, but you have to use a workflow for that.
Yeah. Well said. All right.
Guys,
so what's up?
About the CSV import. So I try to process an Excel, or I've exported a CSV from an Excel file. And when importing that, Softr by default looks for commas as separators.
A delimiter.
And it's in my file, it's a semicolon. Can I change that somehow, or?
Could you, in your file, find and replace the semicolons for commas to format it the way Softr is looking for?
Like through, yeah, I could do that. There's no setting on anything, right? I can.
No,
Okay.
no, that wouldn't be
It
done.
should be
Yeah.
UTF-8 when you export your CSV.
Yes.
Because in different locales, it can have a different export setting. So I'm not sure what your computer set to. So make sure when you, in the Excel, when you export, in the dropdown, there's an option for UTF-8 encoding. That's the one you need to select.
But that, I think that's only for the words, right? Not for the separators. But anyway, I'll substitute. Thanks.
Cool. All right. So back to this HR portal, we have users. Users, I think in this sense would be like, who are the application users that might need to access this? And so this is like team members. This is JJ and Sahil, where we're both like admins, and we want to be able to access the account, the interface, modify, create it, etc. That we won't actually need to create users for any of the applications. That is kind of different. If hopefully that's clear. So users here is the way that we're structuring this. This is the users of the application. Me and Sahil will be able to log into the application, but records in this row will not be able to. All right, so we have users, job listings, and applications. This is kind of the main flow that we want, but let's add a little bit more to this with AI agents to spruce it up, okay? So for example, when an application comes in, wouldn't it be really cool if we could use AI agents to fetch additional data for us to enrich those fields, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that we could do this. So first, we have this application. We have a description. I also want to make sure that when they submit an application, we collect their resume, okay? So we're going to collect their resume. We are going to also collect maybe their LinkedIn URL, which in this case, it's going to be a URL. So LinkedIn profile. Okay. So what else should we add on to what we need to select or add for applications? Let's see. I'm going to do submitted. Let's see. Change the status there. All right. So application submitted, resume, LinkedIn profile. We could do like geographic location. Let's see. So for that, we could do just like a text field, a short text, like where you're located, location. And then I think that should be good for now. And so I'm going to go in and just fill in this basic stuff so we can use it as an example here. So I'm going to grab my LinkedIn URL, and I'm going to grab this right here. And then let me see. Can I add a new file? Yeah, I can. Let me see if I have something like generic that I can use as a PDF. I'll have ChatGPT do it for me in the background. But before that, what I'll do is I'm going to create an AI agent that reviews the LinkedIn profile and gives us additional details about who this person is. Okay. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to add a field, and it's going to call AI agent. Okay. So we're going to do enriched description. All right. So information that the AI agent is going to go to the LinkedIn profile and find out more information about them and to add it to our application to make sure that we're getting as much info as we can. All right. So for this, I want it to be a long text because I want the agent to return a big description for me of who this person is, kind of thing. And I want AI to be able to auto fill this field. And allow manual edits essentially means that I can go in there and manually edit it if I want, okay? And in this case, I'll allow it to happen. And then we could choose which model we want to use for this. You can see here that this is a low cost, and maybe this bigger, stronger model is more cost, okay? These count towards AI credits. And your plan comes with a certain amount of AI credits each month, and then you could buy additional AI credits as well. So I'm going to say, you know what, let's use, let's see, right here. I love this model. And then the prompt is going to be, you are a research agent. So I'm telling the agent who they are, what kind of things they're doing, all right? I want you to go to this profile URL for a applicant's LinkedIn profile. And then I'm going to put the variable there. Variable there means essentially as I'm going to reference another field in my database. And that field that I'm going to reference is the LinkedIn profile. So it's saying, I want you to go to this LinkedIn profile. And in this case, it's going to be my LinkedIn profile. And extract as much data as you can about this person that can help us make a hiring decision about this specific role. And again, I'm going to add a variable for the job description. And so now we're going to say, all right, I want you to go find information, and then using the related job description, try and make it relevant to the job description. Like how is, the information you're going to find be relevant to our job description here, right? And I'm going to allow web search. Web search means that our agent can go search the web, go to their LinkedIn profile and find additional information and bring it back. Now with AI agents, you can get really specific here and figuring out when you want them to run, okay? And this is very important because if you don't figure out when you want them to run, maybe they run too much in the background without you knowing and spending additional credits. So this allows you to figure out or pick exactly when you want them to run. So when a new record is created, we could have them run. Right now that is set by yes. And we will also, we could choose existing record is updated, meaning anytime we update the LinkedIn profile, we can have that run as well. So for example, if you had one LinkedIn profile for me and then you switch it, let's run it again to get the latest one. Finally, we should only run this when a LinkedIn profile exists, meaning is not empty, because this won't work if the LinkedIn profile is not there, right? And maybe even that we can add another condition and we could say when the related job description is not empty, because we're also referencing that. So as long as these two things are not empty, we're going to run this. This makes sure that when we're running this agent, we have the data that we need to run the agent with. Okay. So now I'm going to preview this. Okay. So it's literally going to go and preview here. But the only thing is our job description is really lacking and the result might not be as good. So I'm actually going to save this first. And then I'm just going to quickly update a job description and I'm just going to add it in here. So I'm just going to go into ChatGPT real quick and just have it create a dummy job description. So create a job description for a product design role at Softr. All right, I'm going to grab that real quick. Sure. David's asking for an example of how we can use this to create new fields. David, this is kind of already an example of how it's creating new fields because it's adding to this new field with using an AI agent, but I can show you an additional example as well. All right. So we got this long job description here, and it's a good thing that this is a long description because that's, we allow for that. So we now have this long job description here. Okay. We go back to applications and I have the ability to fill this with AI now. And I have my profile and I have this long description here, right? So now I'm going to say, okay, go do your best and fill this with AI. Now it's going to actually go search my LinkedIn profile URL and give me additional information about me as it relates to this job description. I really don't know what it's going to say here, but I'm excited to see it. All right, so JJ is a senior product designer, no-code expert, startup founder, et cetera, and leads a community in education here at Softr. Not bad, not bad. Now, we could also add, to your point, David, like what happens if we didn't have their LinkedIn profile? Well, we could create another agent that essentially says, using the user's name, and then we reference their name, go find their LinkedIn profile and save it here. And then we could use it that way to go find additional social handles. I'd say that this works like most of the time, but it's not bulletproof, right? But you could use this for LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. You can add additional Facebook handles there. It's also really good for like finding company history, company like fundraising amount, company size, all that kind of stuff to enrich. And then the last thing I want to do is do a PDF extraction. Okay, so I'm going to have ChatGPT just create a sample PDF for me. Create a sample resume in PDF format that I can use as a resume for this product design role. So when that's creating that PDF for me, I can then create another AI agent that is going to analyze the user's resume and help us determine if they may be a good fit for this job description or not. All right. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to go insert a field to the right, and this is going to be an AI agent field, and it's going to be a resume extractor. Okay. This is going to help us find relevant resumes. And we could do this in a couple of different ways. We could do this as a long text, meaning we're going to have the agent respond with information in like a long text form. Or we could also do it as maybe a select field where we could say something along the lines of good fit, not a good fit, review required, something like that. So in this situation, we're going to just try that and see how that goes. And so we're going to say, you are helping us hire for a new role. Analyze, sorry, my spelling is terrible this morning. Analyze this resume found here, variable, and it's going to be the resume, and review it to see if they could be a good fit for this job. You can find additional details about this job here. And then it's going to be the job description field as well. And then we're going to say return maybe one of the three options. Return a good fit if they are a good fit. And then we'll say review required if you cannot find enough information, or pass only if it's very clear that they are not a good fit. All right, so we have that. I am just downloading my sample resume now, and so we have that. We're going to save this. I'm going to add the sample resume that I just had PDF create for me, ChatGPT create for me. Let's see if we can open this up. All right, so Avery Daniels is our, here we go. I guess we're already a product designer at Softr. We've also been a product designer at Notion, Airtable, and the others. Okay, cool. So now we want to run this extractor here. So now I'm going to fill with AI and see if this agent can currently extract what information we need. It seemed like it had a bit of trouble there. Let me review this. So I'm going to, again, go to something like a Claude for this. And what else do we need here? Resume extractor. If I wanted to have AI improve my prompt, I could, but I think that should be fine for now. And I only want this to run when the resume field is not empty, right? All right, let's save this and see if we can have it run again. AI was not, having trouble detecting this one. I'm not sure why exactly though. Let me try maybe with a stronger model here. Anything else that you could figure out, Sahil? Maybe we're running into trouble with the select field type here. What do you think?
Let me see the prompt.
I'm asking it to return the.
Yeah, looks pretty straightforward. Maybe try dropping the. Well, no, even that should be fine. The status field.
Yeah. Let's see.
What about the run? Is it running at all?
It's running. Yeah. Let's see. We'll try it again. I think it might be.
Wasn't able to.
Yeah.
It says AI was able to fill the field.
I'm just going to switch this to a short text and have it come back that way. And now I'm going to try it again here. All right. All right. So I responded with good fit in that way. So it wasn't working with the single select for some reason, but we have detected from this resume that I would be a good fit for this role. It's a good thing because I already work at this, this job according to the resume. So we're just about at time here. So I want to just open it up for kind of questions that we have remaining and try and answer some of the questions that you all have before we disperse for this. Again, we have an office hour session at noon, which is in about an hour and 45 minutes from now, and we can answer more questions there. Otherwise, hopefully you guys are able to get into Softr today to think about the app that you want to build. If you have questions about it, feel free to DM me. I would suggest trying to keep your app as simple as possible to begin with, accomplishing that, building that, and then if you want to add more from there. But try and really limit down your MVP, the most minimal viable product, to make it so you can complete your app this week. And then we can add a complexity if you finish early kind of thing.
Jada, do you also want to mention the build with AI, just at the app level, not at the database level? That might be helpful for some people.
Like the vibe coding block?
No, like if you like literally give a prompt to build the app from the studio. If you
Okay.
Go, so you go to apps, you can generate with AI. So this is something. It's not perfect, but
Yeah.
It builds the interface. It builds a database. If you want to see what all elements you need in your app, could be a good way, but I won't trust it. It's a beta feature at best.
Yeah, this feature needs some loving. It will kind of get you off on your way, but you could definitely try this. I would also say that we have a lot of different templates, and even though we don't want you to use a template for this, you can use a template as long as you make it different enough kind of thing. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like someone that just submits a template for their final app really won't be graded high. But if you use a template and really change it to your use case, that's totally fine as well. And again, we have over 90 templates. And one of the things that I would even just suggest to you is start with a template, which also comes with the database. And then you can review how that database is structured. So you can use that as an example of, all right, I need this kind of data in my database. This is how this example is showing me of how it's structured. Let's do that. So I really like that example. And then I do want to actually show you one more thing here, because as Build Week participants, you all have access to this before anyone else. And it is our special vibe coding block that just launched. You guys are the first people to use it. It's still very raw, but really exciting as well. And so here we are in Softr interfaces. This is where we build the UI for the application. And we can go to click add a new block. And here we have 3 different types of blocks. We're going to cover interfaces all tomorrow in our session with Diana, but just to show you how to use the vibe coding block. Right here, these are dynamic blocks. That means that these blocks, once you drag them over to the page, will sync with your data, okay? So if you have data in Softr databases, Notion, Google Sheets, or whatever, you can bring those blocks over and then add your database to those blocks, and it will show your data. Now, static blocks, this is literally static, meaning we're going to show static information. And that's really good for like a landing page or just when you need to show static information. All right. And then we have containers. Containers allow you to have like blocks side by side, for example, or we have like our tab containers and other things. And so you can use a lot of different alignments. But for this example, I want to show you a static block, and we go down to artificial intelligence. And this is where we can access the vibe coding block, which is what you all should have access to. I will say that when you sign up to Build Week, we use that email address to give you access to it. So if you didn't have a Softr account with the email that you signed up for Build Week, you probably didn't get access to this. If that's the case, just DM me after the fact, and on a daily basis, we'll try to add you to it. Zane, what's up?
Quick question. Could you please walk your steps again on how you got to the vibe coding app?
Sure. Yeah, so we're over here in interfaces and we click on this plus button. Okay, that's going to open up our blocks, and we can have 3 different block types. The specific vibe coding block is static, and you scroll down to artificial intelligence, and then that's the vibe coding block, and you just click there, and then it will come up, and then you could start asking it to build something for you. So in this case, I'm going to have it try and create something like this. And so create a hero block that advertises Softr Build Week, where you can learn, win prizes, and make friends. Include a button to RSVP to Build Week. So we'll keep it there, and then AI will go and try and make this for us. And right now, vibe coding blocks really just meant for static data. In the next iteration, we're going to be allowing you to have more interactive buttons and data, and it's really going to be improved upon. But as like literally the first users using it, it's a little bit more raw. All right. So here is the new block that it just built for us here. Okay, compared to the other block that we had. Now we could go through and ask it to, now change this or whatever and continue to iterate on it. But this is the block that we would have. I'd also note that if you want to expand its capabilities, because we are working with like actual code right here, we need to be a little bit more specific. So in a situation where we say reserved to Build Week, we need to tell AI where we're going to send that user when we click that button. So in this case, I would say when you click RSV to Build Week, you should send the user to this URL, right? Or stuff like that. And so you need to give it more instructions because it is using AI to code this. But otherwise, if you see our other actual no code options here, you could see that actually right here, you can go into actions, and then you can do all of these buttons in a no code style here to adjust everything. So again, we're going to be doing a whole interface section tomorrow, and we're going to be building the front end of the HR portal interface where we just worked on the back end today. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. We have office hours today at noon. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have the interfaces with Diana, and then at 9:30 on Wednesday, we're going to go over Softr workflows, showing you how to create automations and workflows to bring it all together. Bassi, feel free to ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was just wondering about the vibe coding. Is there a system for making changes, like to undo version control, essentially? If I ask AI to change something for me and I want to go back, do we have a system to keep the AI on track?
Not quite yet, because it's so raw. It's just not good at that yet. Maybe throughout the week this will be added and improved upon. We're making changes to it that quickly, but right now it's responding best to the first prompt, and then if you prompt it again, it's going to make those changes, but it's going to overwrite a little bit of what your first prompt is. So it's there's definitely some things to be desired still, and maybe you'll even get it in a couple days. But right now it's still a bit raw.
Fair enough.
I will send a recording. I will put in the Build Week Slack channel. If you guys are not in that Slack channel, please join the Slack channel. DM me or email me, and I'll send you that invite, because that's where a lot of our communication is going out this week. We have a couple more questions here. Josh, do you want to go for it?
Yeah. So the office hours, is that just going to be open, whoever shows up? Okay. And then I saw there's an option for one-on-ones.
Yes. So that's tomorrow. I will share the calendar link with you to book 15-minute one-on-one sessions with me tomorrow, and that will be available as well.
Okay. And then my last question is, do you think my idea is like too complex for this week's?
I don't know if it's a full enough idea. Like it's kind of like a simple flow that you're trying to do, and like we could do that flow, but it's maybe not the best use case for Softr in that way. Maybe there's a chance for us to explore like how we can either strengthen it or find something else that might be more impactful for you to build this week.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. So Florian, is it possible to somehow import linked records? Only if you use the import Airtable feature. If you use import Airtable feature, that will include the linked records. But if you do via CSV, it won't, unfortunately. You can look at using our Softr workflows to do those linked records in a programmatic like automation way. But unfortunately,
No, Florian, you can still do it. So when you import it, just import the text fields and leave that field out in your import. And then what I do is I manually copy the whole column and paste it into Softr. That automatically creates the link just for that one field.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that.
So I didn't get the last part. So I import it as text.
So import all the text fields, leave the linked fields out. And then when the table is created and the fields are imported, then go back to your source like Excel or whatever, copy the entire column where your linked record names. So you need the names in that column, and then copy the entire column, paste it into Softr in the linked field. It will automatically link if the name matches.
Actually, I just tried this and it did not work. It
the names were just
like if
and you did the names?
The names.
Oh, okay. Let me ping you in Slack. We can figure it out.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. And then Frederick, if you want to ask a question now.
Yeah, I have a question about the database. So what's the behavior of the database if you are out of AI credits? So when you're using AI agents in your tables, do you get an error somewhere, or is the field remaining empty? So what's the behavior?
Yeah. So if you run out of AI credits, it will just stop filling. And you'll be notified that you need more AI credits to continue it. So it'll just remain empty in that situation.
So you get an email then to tell you need to.
I think so. I think so. I can confirm with you after the fact, but that should be the way that it happens. But it's a brand new feature, so I can't guarantee that yet because I haven't seen it myself.
And is there a way to follow up the consumption of your AI credits, or you just
meaning like a review, like how many have been consumed?
I mean, over time that you see on the average, let's say per day for that number of users, that's the amount of credits being consumed.
Gotcha. You know, what you could do, one way that you could see this is that when you go into your AI credits here, and you want to edit field, when you do a preview, it will show you how many credits that it used in a one-off way. So let's see if this will run for me.
JJ, we don't see your screen anymore.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So, for example, let me bring this back up real quick. So in Softr databases, when I go to preview, it will show you the amount of credits you use to run that. So this is actually a little bit higher because I'm using a stronger model. But if I wanted this to be less credits, I could use one that doesn't cost as much. So again, I could use something like this, and then I could try to run that again and see what that will get me. So that can show you like individually what this is setting up at. See, I just 1/3 that. So that's good. And then also in your billing, you can see an update on your AI credits as well. General note, if anyone runs into subscription stuff along the way, let me know and I'll do what I can to help you through the week. Because our focus this week is to help you build something for the first time and to be there to support you. So I'll do what I can along the way as well. Cool. So if you guys have any other questions, I would encourage you to check out our community over at Softr. If you have questions, I would definitely go to our Softr community and just search it of like, how to do something. Chances are there actually might already be an answer, like an answer solved there for you. If not, post there and then post the link to that in our build week and to let us know, and then we'll go and respond and help you in that way too. The goal of this is this way, rather than the answers being buried in a Slack channel, it's visible to everyone on our forum to benefit from as well by doing this method too. All right, we got to finish this up so we can continue any conversations in Slack. Again, we'll also be live in 90 minutes for an office hour session. Thank you all for being here. We have our session on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday as well. So a lot of support this week. DM me with any questions, and great to see and meet you all today. Happy Build Week, everyone. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, JJ. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.